Well, I haven't done a 2000s chart in a while because they're usually quite excruciating. And this one isn't much different, except for the fact that there is at least an interesting and slightly unusual number one that also happens to be by one of my favourite bands. So let's just jump into the top 10 from the 16th to the 22nd of January 2000 and see what the new millennium had in store for us, music-wise. At number 10 is William Orbit with Barber's Adagio for Strings. This is an adaptation of Samuel Barber's 1938 composition, which most people might know from the Platoon soundtrack. It's presented here in the typical late 90s, early 2000s dance template. It was at its peak position at number 4 just over a month ago and spent 4 weeks in the top 10 and 10 weeks in the top 40. At number 9 this week is Len with Steal My Sunshine. This is a catchy but annoying song from the Canadian alt-rockers. It's a very light and summery number for a January chart, but still did well worldwide despite the weird timing. This song's peak was also 5 weeks ago, where it reached number 8, then dipped out and back in the top 10 again here this week. It spent just 3 weeks in the top 10 and 11 weeks in the top 40.
It's up for me.
At number 8 is S Club 7 with double A side, 2 in a Million and You're My Number 1. Both of these songs are just what you'd expect from S Club, kind of soppy but bearable melodic pop slop, ready-made for the Christmas market. This single was at its peak position at number 2 2 weeks ago and was in the top 10 for 5 weeks and the top 40 for 9 weeks. At number 7 is a new entry into the chart. It's Point Break with Stand Tough. This is a song and group that I only have a very vague memory of. This single is an odd, energetic mix of pop, rock and hip-hop that comes across as quite obnoxious. This was its peak position in the chart and its only week in the top 10. It spent just 3 weeks in the top 40.
The new Fiat Punto, the ideal car for the man of today. Now let's go through things nice and slowly, shall we, boys? Satellite navigation system, because let's face it, how are you going to find your way around Birmingham when you can't even find your way around a woman's body? What else? Lovely new engines under the bonnet which you can stand and stare at with your mates. Better handling with a new torsion beam suspension set up with compact spring and damper units, which gives you something interesting to talk about when the football season's finished. And finally, it's really slinky looking, which means you can fantasize about pulling in it. Perfect. Spirito di Punto.
And at number 6 is Alice DJ with Back in My Life. This is another tedious dance song of the era with its relentless thumping bass and drums. I'm sure there's a word for this style of music, but I don't know what it is. I just call it crap for the most part. Despite my personal distaste for this genre of music, the track had a decent 7 weeks in the top 10 and 13 weeks in the top 40. And there's a new entry at number 5. It's Scooch with More Than I Needed to Know. This is a fairly forgettable track from the pop group who were an attempt at a Steps-style mixed-sex combo. It spent just 1 week in the top 10 and 3 weeks in the top 40. And at number 4 is Westlife with double A-side single of I Have a Dream and Seasons in the Sun. This single of cover versions hit the chart a month ago, going straight to number 1 and staying there for 4 weeks. They're decent enough attempts at the ABBA and Jacques Brel / Terry Jacks originals that saw Westlife enjoy a Christmas number 1 with the package. It was a triple A-side single in Australia, by the way, with Flying Without Wings as the third track. Here it spent 6 weeks in the top 10 and 11 weeks in the top 40. And at number 3 is Artful Dodger featuring Craig David with Rewind, the crowd say Bow Selector. This is a song I really hated when I was young, and the song that gave us Mr. Craig David, for better or worse. These days I'm not so hard on the track though. It's a fairly likeable and catchy urban pop-hop tune that gets a little smile out of me in my older age. It peaked at number 2 and spent 8 weeks in the top 10 and 13 weeks in the top 40. At number 2 this week is Donnell Jones with You Know What's Up. This is another fairly forgettable R&B track that blended in with so many others during this time. There's nothing particularly offensive about this tune, but it's unexciting and by the numbers fluff. It spent 4 weeks in the top 10 and 8 weeks in the top 40.
Come on down.
To the McDonald's January sale.
And how do you feel about the prices?
Marvellous. At 49p, it's great value.
Do you realise you won't have to pay anything until a minute's time?
A minute's time?
That's great.
And what do you think of the 25% saving on a hamburger?
Great.
Brilliant.
And we'll even deliver direct to your door.
So there you have it. The McDonald's January sale.
At Croydon, Sidcup, New Malden, Wimbledon, Milton Keynes.
And the song at the top of the UK Top 40 this week was the Manic Street Preachers with The Masses Against the Classes. Now this track is always touted as the first number 1 of the new millennium, which sadly I'm gonna have to debunk a bit here. Yes, it may have been the first song to be released in 2000 that went to number 1. It was released in a limited capacity on the 10th of January and deleted the same day, but it wasn't the first number 1 of 2000. Westlife were at number 1 for the first 2 weeks of the year with their previously mentioned single, so I don't count this as the first number 1 of the new millennium. Do you? Do you think I'm correct in that? Anyway, pedantics aside, this was a return to a more raw, rocky, punky sound for the band, and was a bit of a surprise hit. It only managed to hang on in the top 10 for 2 weeks though, and spent just 4 weeks in the top 40 in total. And the song at number 1 in America at this time was quite a different affair, with Christina Aguilera topping the chart for 2 weeks with What a Girl Wants, which had actually been released in September of 1999 and taken all this time to climb to the top spot. It was a new entry in the UK chart this week at number 81. And my hidden gem for this week is another one of my favourite things, that being a James Bond related product in the form of The World Is Not Enough by Garbage. This might be the best Bond theme of the Brosnan era, but it had some decent competition in the form of Sheryl Crow and K.D. Lang's songs written for Tomorrow Never Dies. The song is suitably modern but still maintains the grandeur needed to make a good Bond theme stand out from the rest of the contemporary songs in the chart. It peaked at number 11, not quite managing to slip into the top 10. We find it here this week at number 69. spent just 3 weeks in the top 40 in total. A disappointing performance for such a decent track. And that's it for this week. What was your favourite song of this early 2000 top 10? Also, what would you have chosen as your hidden gem from this week's chart? I'll leave a link in the description as usual so you can peruse the chart yourself. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It really helps the channel to gain more viewers and subsequently keep going. So join me again next week when we travel back to another historical top 10. But until then, take care of yourselves and peace.
I don't believe that.
I know. It's the same price as at home.
The sensual sound of Barry White. Captured on the Barry White Collection. All his greatest hits on one unique album. All on the Barry White Collection. The Barry White Collection. Out now on CD and cassette.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
I'm afraid you've been burgled. They've completely ransacked the place.
Hi, I think it's about time I got a cleaner. Great, hang on a sec.
You do not want to see what they have done in your bathroom.
Strawberry ice cream sundae, please.
Coming right up.
They're back!
Dad. Sweetie, not Dad. Banana. Dad. Showerhead.
Aladdin the ride back home.
Dad.
Bone. What's got into him today? E.T. thinks you need to phone Grandad. Why didn't you say so?
Oh, hi, love. You were lucky to catch me. I was just about to shin up the ladder into the loft.
Dad, that ladder's over 15 feet long. I'll get Jack to come over.
Funny how there's always a good reason to phone for no reason. Stay in touch.